Hello Spider Peeps. Well, you can guess on the desk what I'm going to be doing. You can guess on the desk what I'm going to be doing today. Yeah, I'm going to be playing with some leatherwork, and you remember that in a couple of videos ago I had this Swiss Tech EDC scissors. I don't know if you remember those, which I had been looking for, and I was really happy with these, but I decided that I wanted to do a leather pouch as opposed to this fabric pouch. SpiderSon's been doing a lot of leather work, so I've nicked some of his leather here, and I'm going to try and recreate that in leather. I'm going to use some of the bits of this as well, I think. First of all, I've got to do a plan. I thought the best way of doing this is sort of laying this out, so I could take this apart. I made a plan by doing this sort of thing and then marking a width with a little bit to allow for the thickness of the leather, and mark there, and so it then gives me that, if that's got the curvy bit on, it gives me that as a pattern. Then if I'm looking at this, it's got these side panels, and the side panels are only stitched there and there. This has got this extra bit where it goes on the inside as well, and it holds these spare blades, but I don't want to carry those around anyway. I'm going to just do two side panels, and then the stitching, this is the start and the end of the stitching here. So these bits are stitched, and then if I go over again, these are the other bits that are stitched. So I'll cut that out and make that into a neater pattern, but as I'm going to be doing a ruler and doing concentration, I'm not going to film that bit. I'm just going to show you the plan on the next cut, like this. There you are. So there's my plan for it. So we've got half a cow here. There's this big offcut on it, so I want to try and use the leather as well as I can and not waste any. So I just want to look at a decent area of this to use, and I think I'm going to take that bit there, and then maybe this bit might still be useful for something. So I'll try and leave as much as the edge of the leather as I can. So I've got a scratcher, and hopefully with the scratcher now I can scratch around the edge of my pattern. That bit goes off the edge a bit, but that's all right because I'm going to cut that bit round. So again, scratching round. Now, interestingly, all of these techniques for doing leather I've been taught by Jason at Diamonawl. So I met Jason at a Maker Central, then I went up to his workshop in Mossley, I think it's Mossley, and I spent a lovely Saturday with him. The Spider family did, being shown how to work leather like this. So there you go, it's a brilliant pattern that's come across. I think I'm going to just do some extra bits, this bit at the back. Now I'm not sure whether to do this out of leather or not, but I'm just going to put two little dots on for where those go, and I'll do the same thing over here. And I'm also going to just put a couple of marks on where I'm going to do the stitches. Now the thing about this is, once you put these marks on, these marks stay. So I'm just going to put them as much as I can out of the way on the sides, and I'll do the same thing for this as well. So the stitching is going to go along there, those two bits. Okay, let's cut that out. Now Jason used a rotary cutter, and I do have a rotary cutter, but on this occasion I'm just going to use this sharp knife that I got on this Swiss Tech EDC thing. Cut on the inside of the line and make sure that the blade doesn't slip into the work area, which can happen on occasions. And because I'm actually using the cutting mat as a cutting mat, when I'm cutting the leather, it makes a crunching noise, and as soon as I get to a smooth cut, I know I've reached the mat, so that's cut perfectly. Right, let's do the other side, and I'll show you what I mean now about cutting on the waist side. So if I set that up again, and then if I slip and go out, I'm not going into the actual work piece, but hopefully I'm not going to slip on this. Hear the crunch? Then the next one, whoops, that slipped a little bit. Then the next one should be smooth, I think. No. Oh, nearly. Okay, beautifully cut. And I've saved a bit of leather that might be useful for something else. Finish the edge. Hurrah! So somewhere I've got my side pieces as well. So that's the best way to use this. I think I'll use that piece. Let's mark that out. Oops. Don't know the best way to do this. I think I'm just going to do another piece there. This is a live edge bit, so let's just cut along there and do it that way. See, you don't really need a lot for this. This is just a little spike, and I'm putting hardly any pressure on it at all. Just trying to run it and keep it along the edge of the paper patterns. Really, I should have card patterns, but you put hardly any pressure on and it marks it really tremendously. All right, so let's cut these two out. Don't think I can save that bit for anything. Hoping these are going to be the same size. Now normally I would use my Morn safety rule for this, but it's an integral part of my filming setup, and I use my Morn safety rule to get the perfect angle on my phone while I'm doing top-down filming. So I can't use it for this, and yet this is exactly the sort of thing where I really should be using a safety rule. The point of the safety rule, in fact I'll show you, it's so that your fingers are kept out of the way of the knife. So on this one, see, I've got my fingers here, I'm trying to keep them a distance from the knife, but there's a chance that I could slip, whereas the safety rule has got a ridge, so it's much harder for you to slip with it. On this occasion, I'm just trying to be spider careful while I'm doing this. So are these the same size? Mostly I've just got to cut a little bit off the edge of that. Only an absolute sliver. That's where I cut on the line and not this side of the line. So this will probably cut too much off now. I'm going to try and get an absolute sliver now. This is one of those weird things that you can do with leather. Alright, so that was about, say that's about 0.5 millimetre thick I've managed to cut. Is that the same now, or is it too much? Yeah, that's about the same. This is the bit that's going to go on the edges. So I've got to do it like this. I've got to keep these connected somehow while I'm doing it. So I'm going to put a bit of double-sided tape on there so that when I'm putting the holes in, the holes are perfectly aligned. I'm going to say that this is side 1 and this is side 2. and then I'll do this is side 2 and this is side 1. Then hopefully I won't get them mixed up when I have to take them apart. So let's get some tape. I'm just going to use a bit of sellotape here. I'll try and just do it on the edge as much as I can. It's about there. Let's chop that, put that on there, and then put that on there. Then I can scoot that edge off. And there he goes. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the other side at the same time, so let's get the next tool. So these are my chisels, and I want to work out how many of these I can fit. Now it looks like there's going to be just approximately the width of 2 of those on there. So I'm just actually using my cutting board for once, using the marks on the cutting board, and you see if I get that so that it's got the same distance each side, and then if I look at that, it looks like you can fit one there and one there approximately. So I think I'll do that, and I'm going to use a different cutting mat underneath this and something else, because this is going to go straight through everything. So I don't want it to go through my purple cutting mat. So I'm going to bring out green cutting mat. We've not seen green cutting mat for a while. I'm going to put a little bit of wood underneath that. And when we did this at Diamonawl, he actually had a granite block and a rubber thing that went underneath here. But I don't have that, so I'm just doing that. So I've got a SpiderMaf cutting board, piece of wood, sacrificial cutting board here. So let's go sort of towards the edge, and I'm going to try and mark these like so. So try and get it as much in the middle as I can of all of them. So that's a nice lot of stitch holes. So let's get me brummyoma and get that in there, and hopefully that has gone through. It has. And the sellotape is just to keep it in place while I'm doing this. It's not really to stick it. We used special slippy glue at Diamonawl, but I'm not an either stick person, so see, so I'm lining this up to make sure the holes get in the right position on the previous holes. Hopefully if Jason ever watches this, he won't go, SpiderMaf, you've done it so incredibly wrong. Okay, so that's the first bit. Looking good. So now I've got to do the same thing on the other side. This is where it becomes dangerous, because I end up doing it wrong. So let's put the bit more tape on the side of that. Now I can take that one off and put this one on. It's a bit wobbly, oh well. So that's got those two. Now I've got to do the same again for the other side, which is, in fact, I'm just going to scratch this edge here so that I know this is the curved bit. And now let's just check this is right again. So this is number 2. That's got to come up this way to there. So that's got to stick on that edge. So I'm going to keep that in the same orientation so I don't lose it. Let's pull that out and then make sure that's perfectly aligned everywhere, and then do the chisel bit again over here. When I pull the chisel up, I just feel that to make sure that all the points have gone through. Let's go in again. All right, whoop that one off. And I'm just going to do another mark on this so that I make sure I've got it aligned right in the future, just to make sure. So I'm just going to do 3 bars across there, just to make sure, in case I've done something slightly wrong with the holes, that I've done it. So that's that one done. That's number 2 done. Let's go back and do the same thing for number 1. Number 1 would have been there. So it has to come over to there. So it's got to go on that orientation. So same thing. I've got a feeling this might be slightly oversized compared to the original, but that's okay. This is my first go at doing something specifically, making my own pattern. Right, so here we go again. That is great. So I'm going to do the same thing on this as I did with the other one. So let's pull it across, but this time on the other edge. I'm just going to do 2 marks across. So 1, 2, just so that we don't get them mixed up later on. So we're nearly ready. There's just one extra bit that I want to do. It's this here. So I put some dots on, and I could do this with leather. I don't know what to do. Shall I do it with leather? Have I got any leather that big that's spare? I'm not sure whether to do it leather. Let's do it leather. But how many stitches am I going to be able to put across there? I can do 4. That should be okay. Let's do that. And it needs to be about that long. And what was the width? The width was about that width. Okay, so this has got to go there, where I've poked the holes through, approximately in the middle of that. So I'm going to do the sellotape again, just to stick that down. I only need a little bit. Make sure that that's aligned with that side, approximately in the middle of both. Oh, it looks like I might get 5 in here, so yeah, so let's start there. And then move it 1 down for the final hole. Do the same on the other side. Oh, looks like something might have gone a bit wrong there. Oh well. So I think that's finished with my chisels now. So I think I've got to do some edging now and some burnishing. Okay, I've just remembered something that I did wrong. I should have marked the edge, which is probably why that slipped out. So what I should have done is set this and then scribe down the edge to give me a straight line to work on. And also that straight line puts an indent onto the leather, which the chisel goes into better. But I forgot to do that bit. Sorry, Jason, if you're ever watching. And I had this on the desk as well all the time. Right, let's do the bevel edges. And this is a different tool than we used in Diamonawl, but this is the one that SpiderChums has got. Along these edges we have to go like this and it puts a lovely edge onto the side of the leather that you're doing. And do it on the other side as well. How am I going to cut this? I think actually for this I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm not going to do it in a curve. I'm just going to, because I haven't got any curved cutters or anything, so I'm going to just do a 45-degree angle both sides for the flap. Hopefully I can get this side to match as well. Okay, before I start using leather dye, let's wear me some gloves. Hey craftsman. Alright, because I mean leather is skin and leather dye is made to dye skin, and I'm skin. Now when we were at the workshop we had like a felt tip pen, which I don't have any of, to do this. So on this occasion I'm just going to use a sticky eary thing. Is that what it's called, Aaron? Sticky eary thing. What do they call them? I don't know. Okay, so this is dark brown Italian edge finish. So I'm just going to, if I can, twirl this on here. Not sure that Q-tips are the right thing to use, but it's all that I have. Oh no! No! Definitely Q-tips aren't the right thing for this, but it's all that I've got. I've been looking on AliExpress and I have found that they do the refillable bottle things, which is what I want. But that will suffice for now. Let's just wipe off the edges. I probably need to do the inside edges of these, because I'll do the long edges when I do the whole sides, but let's just do these bits just while I've got the edging out. Now I've got to use this to burnish them, so I think I'm going to do the same thing. So let's get a bit of the gum and pop that on the edge. I think I'll do the end as well. Then get my burnisher and start to rub it. Could probably dispense with the gloves now, but in for a penny. Okay, stitching time. So I need to stitch this on there now. So let's dispense with the gloves. Okay, so this is a little clampy thing which we do the stitching in. Now I bought one of these a while ago, but Diamonawl had little magnets on the side so that you don't lose the needles. So I'm going to do the same thing on mine because that was such a good idea. So I'll pop a bit of super glue on. Probably epoxy would be better for this, but I've only got super glue at the moment, and let's give that a spritz. Okay, so when we've got the needles, when you've got them all threaded up, you just put them on the side. That's really cool. I could do a contrast colour, but I think I'm going to use this instead. It looks a bit thick, but hopefully it'll be okay. And there's my wax. I'm going to pull the string through, the yarn, the thread, whatever it's called. I'm going to pull that through the wax there, just to make sure it's got a decent amount of wax on it in case this wasn't pre-waxed. Right, let's get stitching. So make sure that this is set up the right way. There's one number 3. So that 3 goes over there. And then I'm going to get these aligned. Just get them aligned there. And then clamp them in this. This is going to be quite hard for me to demo now, but normally better if you sit on this, and I might not even have enough thread to do it. Pull the thread through and make sure I've got equal at both sides. So I clear the hole that way, then come through there with the other needle. Grab that needle like so, and then push the other needle through the same hole that I've just made. And then give it a bit of a tug, light pressure. So now I'll do the same again, coming back, clear the hole, pop that through, come back in again, and this is better with a bit of longer thread, but probably picked a bit too short a thread for this, but it's only a little bit of stitching I've got to do. Okay, that was a bit hard for me to film, but that's all of that stitch now. I went through the thread on that bit, but that'll be hidden inside anyway. So now I've got to cut off these, just a couple of millimeters spare, and then I get my thread zapper. This is a funny thing, and I just heat it up. And that just finishes the stitch. Okay, so it doesn't look that bad on the outside. It looks awful on the inside, but yeah, we'll get better at it. And I think I might need some thinner thread, but that's okay. Let's do the same with this. I'm probably not going to put this on camera because it's really hard for me to film. So I'll get that stitched up. All right, that one went a bit better. It looks nice at the back and looks nice at the front. So the next thing is to find whichever one this is, which is that there, and let's start stitching that across there. Okay, so that's those two stitched on. So now if I bring that over, you should see that the alignment marks are in the correct place. Just check in, yeah. So let's see whether I can get a good picture of stitching one of these sides up for you. Otherwise I'll see you in a minute. I'm having difficulty clamping this because of the thickness of the leather inside. So first of all, I make sure that this is an equal distance. Hopefully you can see that. Then come through with the right. So I clear the hole that side. On this occasion I'm getting the hole lined up. Then come through with a stitch on this side, put the needle behind it, pull, take that tension, and then bring the other one through, and then hopefully the needles are about the same distance apart. So after you've done the first couple it gets a lot easier. So let's put some music on and do this. Okay, I'll cut those two apart now and do the thread zapper on them. Okay, just before I stitch this last side up, I got it ready and I just realised I need to put the popper in here. So let's pop him in here like so. And where will this come over to? We can have it lower down or higher up, but I'm going to say let's just put a little dot on here where it looks appropriate. So let's say it's there. I've got a little punch in here, so let's use these little punches. Let's pull that over so it's tight. I'll put the little dot there as well. So if I remember correctly, this goes underneath through the hole, then that goes on top of it. And there should be one of these that have got the little hole in it. So that's got the little hole, so that should go on there. That looks okay. Sometimes in these little sets you get a flat thing to put this on, but it doesn't look like we've got it on this one. So let's pop him in there. Let's pop him on there. And then I think we use the pointy one, which should expand it down. Let's try it again. Yeah, right. So one bit more to do. Let's see whether I can get a close-up of that for you again. Okay, so I'm going to cut those off and I'll thread zapper them. So, does it work? Well, I've still got some more stuff to do. Alright, so I've got to burnish the edges all the way around here. So I've got to put the edge dye on and burnish the edges all the way around. So let's do that next. Okay, so there's the finished article. I should just do a bit of a rubbing of it with beeswax, but I don't have any beeswax to hand. So what do you think? So here's the original case next to my new leather case. Now looking at it now, I allowed about 3mm on each side for the seams, and I think I needn't have bothered doing that because this has already got the seams running down there, so I probably could have made it a bit less wide. So instead of that thick, I probably could get away with taking off about that much of the pattern, but it doesn't matter. It's my first attempt at a pouch, and does it fit? Well, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm pleased with this. It's just been nice just making something that I wanted. You saw this in the previous video. If you want to see me buying this and how much it was, have a look at this video here. But I said on that video I was going to do a little leather pouch, and here it is. So that was SpiderMaf attempting some leathercraft. It's not something I've done before, so thank you Diamonawl for teaching us how to do that. And if he does watch this, he'll say, that wasn't working because you had the wrong needles and you used the wrong cord, because you have to use this number needle with that cord. Yeah, this was the cord I got. As a first attempt, I know what I'd do differently next time, but really happy with this. All right, so if you enjoyed this sort of thing, please give me a thumbs up. Stick around for the next video and we'll see what we'll be doing next. Bye. So in the end, this was winding me up that it was too big, so I did a new template, and here is the new case. So a little bit tighter than the other one, but you see that means that it fits on your belt, takes up less space on your belt, so you can put other things on your utility belt and look well Batman. SpiderMaf, you don't do Batman, otherwise you'd be Batmaf. Oh, that's weird, but that fits perfectly. I'm happy with that. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. I know I've said that several times, but that is the final outcome of this case project.